So today, we're going to be talking about levers. Now, you might not think about it very often, but levers surround us, making our lives just a little bit easier every day. For example, this pallet right here is kind of heavy. But the good news, there's a lever for that. Digging a hole? There's a lever for that. Are you unfortunately not a squirrel? Well, there's a lever for that. Sister too heavy? There's a lever for that. Like I said, levers are everywhere, but what are they and how do they work?
Simply put, levers are a type of simple machine that reduce the amount of force needed to do work. There are three major parts to a lever. There is the effort, or the thing doing the lifting, the load, the thing being lifted, and the fulcrum, the point at which the lever rotates around. There are three classes of levers. An example of the first type is a teeter-totter, where the fulcrum is in the middle, there is a load at one end, and an effort at the other end. In the second class of lever, there is a fulcrum at one end, and the effort is at the other end, while the load is in the center. An example of the third class of lever is a stapler, wherein the fulcrum is at one end, the load is at the other end, and the effort is being applied somewhere in between. Now, when we're talking about how levers work, what we're really talking about is mechanical advantage, which is equal to the force of the load divided by the force of the effort. The relationship of forces in a lever can be observed using the following equation, where F equals force, D equals the distance from the fulcrum, E equals effort, and L equals load. To help us visualize this equation, we're going to use the following diagram with the triangle representing the fulcrum. D of L, or the distance of load, is observed by going from the fulcrum to the load. Similarly, D of E is observed by going from the fulcrum to the effort. F of E is the force observed between the effort and the lever, while F of L is the force observed between the load and the lever. I took a quick break to have a snack, but I'm having a hard time cutting through this apple using just straight force. It can be done, but there's got to be a better way. Oh wait, there's a lever for that. I'm going to be using this apple and this chopper to demonstrate how a lever can reduce the amount of effort needed to accomplish a task. In this case, there is a fulcrum that the top rotates around, a point of effort where the user applies force, and a place in the middle for something such as an apple to sit. Because work is being done on the apple in this case would be the load. And because the load is in between the fulcrum and the point of effort, this lever would be considered a class 2 lever. Using this diagram of the chopper, we can find this lever diagram. Now, using the values from this lever diagram in our earlier forces equation, we can find this. Next, we want to find mechanical advantage, which is the force of the load over the force of the effort. Solving our other equation, we can find that the mechanical advantage is 2.5. Although I don't have the proper equipment to test it, that certainly felt at least 2.5 times easier. Levers are all around us, but they